day to have somebody very special, very important in our community, especially in the cultural arts, performing arts, Susan Danis. Susan has an amazing background that we'll go into in a little bit, but we have coming up some really unique operas that have really helped the Florida Grand Opera kind of deal with the pandemic and how do we change during what's happened, because your home base, which was the Arts Center and the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, weren't available or appropriate, and now you've found some new venues, and very exciting. So thank you for coming, Susan. Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you. So pleased to be here. Thank you, Gloria.
Yeah, no. And yeah, I've heard so many great things about you from one of your board members, Lynn Bauer, and I'm very excited about this upcoming event you have. 3 Decembers is an opera that's being performed on Saturday and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And yeah, it should be fun. But tell us a little bit about, first of all, how you dealt with what happened in 2020 and the inability to perform where you were used to performing.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenging time, but as we are all a community of artists, hopefully creativity is something that comes out of it. We've been very, very fortunate that all of the arts have received wonderful funding, especially from our county, Miami-Dade County, and the monies that they allocated through the MOS program and through, of course, the Division of Cultural Affairs. They've really been the backbone to helping make sure that we move forward. But we decided that everybody's going totally virtual. And while we have virtual options, we thought that we'd also try to see if we could have live options, because I think now, especially, the world needs music and art more than ever. So what we did was we really looked at all the COVID guidelines, read all the CDC guidelines and so forth, and decided that if we could find a space that could keep everyone safe, keep the audience, keep our company, keep everybody safe, that we try to move forward with live performance. And so this Saturday evening, we open with an opera by Jake Heggie that he wrote in 2008. And it's just 3 people in the cast and just 11 musicians. So there will absolutely be more people in the audience than there are on stage. But the ultimate goal is for everyone to get a chance to experience opera live again, but also to make sure that everyone stays safe.
Okay, so for this upcoming performance, will you also have the ability for people to watch it online?
Yes, afterwards, our performances will be recorded, and then there will be an option a couple of weeks afterwards, because of course the videographer will do a little bit of just tweaking and editing, and then people will it'll be available for a short period of time, and they'll be able to buy it and see it virtually as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, so if you can't go, you can still take advantage of it. And they sound so interesting. I was reading over some of the little descriptions of each of these operas. And then after 3 December, tell us about 3 Decembers, because that's kind of interesting.
3 Decembers is about, it's basically about 3 characters over a period of 30 years. It's 1986, 96, and 2006. And it's very reminiscent of the period of time and does reflect on the AIDS crisis throughout. But it's really about a relationship of a very domineering mom who also happens to be a star, a daughter who is living what appears to be the perfect life as a Connecticut suburban housewife, though it's far from perfect, and her gay son that she truly, truly doesn't accept as being gay. And in some ways, in portions of the opera, refers to the fact, she talks about the gay plague, and it's almost as if he got, it's almost punishment because he's gay. Yeah. So it's about the struggle and the strife between the 3 of them. The 2 siblings are very, very close. They each have different relationships with their mom. There's a big reveal of a family secret in the end of the.
So you won't share that. Don't spoil it.
I won't really spoil it. And then the end of it. But it's really operas that are written in the 20th and the 21st century, they're about everyday life. I mean, I don't want to say that most people have some dysfunction in their family, but they probably do. And this family is definitely dysfunctional. And but yet the sibling relationship, and there are really, really tender moments, and there are really intense moments. And I tried to pick operas for this season that were about real life, that I think there are people who don't really think we're ever going to go back to it, that we're always going to have masks, that we'll always have to socially distance. And hopefully, knock on wood, with the vaccine being more and more available, we will go back to everyday life.
Right. Yeah. So, I am we were just talking about how lucky we are in Florida that, first of all, you can get tested and get your results in a day. If you're not doing the rapid test, it's even quicker, but for the safer test, and the ability to be able to do smaller performances like this. This is so important, and I'm with you. I mean, we do Gringo Bingo for my Coral Gables Women's Club to raise money for our dental clinic, and we have an event, we have it outdoors, but there are places you couldn't do that. Even outdoors, you couldn't have do the stuff that we're doing. So friend in Canada told me they still can't go to a store. They have to do curbside pickup for everything. Right. So so we have to really count our blessings. And I'm so looking forward to some of these shows you have coming up.
Thank you.
So after, and we have some props.
Oh, of course. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So are you going to try it on? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
I've always wanted to be in an opera, and I wish I could sing.
The epitome of stereotypic opera. There could not be anything that is more stereotypic and farther from the truth, but nonetheless, if you would like to become a Nordic princess.
I've always wanted to be a Nordic princess.
There you go.
Do you know what?
I'm glad you're good with self-deprecating humor like I am. But it actually looks quite good. It works very well with your blonde hair.
Well, the funny thing is, I am famous for having a lot of costumes in my closet. I have a costume closet because every year, community newspapers is a lot of fun to work here. And we treat Halloween big. So everybody always has a costume. And then my women's club has a costume. And my Rotary Club everybody has a costume. So some years I have to have 2 costumes because I'm going to so many places.
Do you sing? Because
I
you're
have
quite
this,
natural in that.
I have a Viking. This could work. I have a Viking outfit.
It looks really good on you, actually. It blends with your blonde hair.
There you go. So it works.
Absolutely.
Okay. So anyway. Okay, what are you going to try on?
Oh, I don't have anything. I can't.
Oh, you can't try on the wig.
But I will. I just wanted to show a couple of things. This is actually a wig from a character from Don Giovanni that is the Commendatore and the commander. And in the beginning of the opera, he gets killed.
Right.
And he comes back to haunt Don Giovanni. And when that act opens, he's on stage and he is a statue. And the statue comes to life, which the first time you see it or when children see it, it's a little bit frightening. But this is actually a wig that obviously has been affected with basically, it's not really plaster of Paris, but it's a substance that we use. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the wigs that you see in opera. This is actually before they put mud all over it, as I like to call it. This is a human hair wig. We use human hair in wigs because we won't ask you to cut yours, but you actually can buy human hair because it's going to be styled. It's going to be things like this is going to happen to it and so forth.
And these are expensive.
They are. And you can't, I don't know, your audience can quite see, but there's netting here. And every single hair, every single individual strand of hair it's called ventilating. And it literally, each hair is used single one on a needle and knotted. And and if you think about all the hair on your head, that's how it's created.
That's why they're so expensive.
And exactly. And the reason why this net is here is because we've all seen people with bad wigs. And if you have the net and then you put the makeup on top of it, it gives it a much more natural hairline.
Oh, of course.
So I just wanted people to get a sense of just how complicated, and also it's very, very heavy. So having to wear this on top of your head and sing opera and move around, just a couple things you have to do simultaneously.
Just really. Oh my gosh. And she actually has a real sword that must weigh, I don't know.
Yeah.
5 pounds at least.
Easily. This is very often it's just like the swashbuckling that you will see in the average many movies. But if you do go to see opera, and these operas are not period operas, so there won't be too much swashbuckling, but they're actual swords. And there's always what's called a fight master that is hired with operas that have dueling or sword fights in them, and the singers are taught, and most of them study
but they use that's a real sword.
But they use real sword. And there are, before an actual performance, you'll always see a fight call where the performers that are involved in that duel or fight, whatever the scene may be, will actually be called to the stage before it starts for them to rehearse it. They rehearse it every night right before they do it, whether it's at the intermission or at the beginning of the opera.
Yeah. Well, that's scary
and then
stuff
if
with
you're
real
hungry,
stuff.
I
yes.
brought some food for you. So,
did you bring us a turkey?
I brought you a turkey. Now, there are always buffet tables in operas, lavish.
But set it down and let's see how real it looks. Shoot!
It probably
move it over.
Here,
move it over.
Move it over.
There you go.
Yeah, it looks pretty real.
Yeah, not bad.
If I brought some of the dressing, it would have definitely looked more real.
Yeah.
But of course, we can't, keep a real turkey on stage. However, we do have what's called practical food. When we're doing an opera, they'll always ask if there's practical. Oh, sorry, I hit the microphone. If there is practical food involved, and what that means is there a need for people to actually eat?
I see.
Eat the food. So.
Right.
Or practical liquids, meaning, are they just going to tip a wine glass up to their mouth, or is there really going to be grape juice? Or we generally tend to use, of course, they use like sparkling cider or ginger ale for champagne.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of times actually lightening up diet soda looks more like red wine than like using grape juice. So, and also a lot of times people are watching calories. So, they want diet soda instead of grape juice. Just teasing. But anyway,
that makes sense. No, it makes sense.
Those little things that go on that you might not think about when they're not really drinking wine on stage. So I just wanted to make sure.
So tell us about the behind the scenes guys. Okay, and I want to tell you, your artistic director,
education director.
Oh, education director. Okay, so Luis Valenzuela,
right,
made this for me. Hold on, I got.
We'll remove your horns.
Remove my horns. Oh, okay, so look how pretty this is. Yeah, this guy is so talented.
Luis
this is I make masks. So I really appreciate a well-made one. And this one is like perfect. So a shout out to Luis. Thank you very much for this mask. I love it.
It's beautiful.
And it goes with everything. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. But he's super talented. I know he used to be. I first met Luis at the Coral Gables Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard so many wonderful things about her. And then before I knew it, you had taken him away.
We're lucky. Luis is very, very talented. I mean, obviously a great educator, but also a great costume designer, just an artist in his own right. So it's great for him that he gets to use some of those talents besides obviously working with education and helping kind of introduce children of all ages to opera and adults.
And you've got Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about Nick.
Nick is our director of marketing or chief marketing officer.
Right.
He's relatively new to us. He's only been here since August.
Oh, wow.
So he's just getting to know the community, and this will be his first.
And he's got a crazy last name. I don't even know how to say
Svornik.
it. How?
Svornik.
Svornik. It's got a lot of consonants, guys. Anyway, he's a delight to work with. Also,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I know everybody at the Florida Grand Opera is doing more than one job now.
Yes,
because everybody downsize. We have to be as efficient as you can.
Normally we wouldn't do this because we'd be in a bigger theater and there'd be more requirements. But I'm running women's wardrobe, meaning that I will be the person backstage. And in this first opera, they all have between 7 to 9 different outfits or costume changes, and the opera's only an hour and 22 minutes.
Get out of here.
Yeah, thankfully,
oh my gosh.
It's modern dress. It's not period dress.
Yeah.
So it's easy enough for everybody to get in and out of their clothing, but that I'll be backstage helping the two women in the opera. And one of our other staff, our director of artistic administration, Mitch Rowe, will be helping Ephraim, who's singing the role of Charlie, to make sure he has all of his clothes in order. Though these are incredible professionals and singers that have dealt with just as complicated and even more complicated.
I was going to say they probably had quick changes.
Exactly, they're very used to quick changes and so forth. But it's going to definitely be an exciting time backstage.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So tell us more about you. You've got an interesting background. I know you were in Paris for a while with was it the University of Hartford?
Yes. Yeah. I was actually trained undergrad as a drama therapist, and I have a minor in theater and everything.
What is a drama therapist?
A drama therapist uses drama as a therapeutic milieu to work with people, mainly with disabilities, to help.
Really?
I may have worked with developmentally disabled. I've worked with people on the autism spectrum. I've worked with people with various challenges around mental health issues. Just kind of a little bit of everything, and I did that for a long period of time, and then just decided I really was just going to go to Paris and be a bum for a year and a half. But being an overachiever, I found a short MBA program, and I also got my MBA while I was in Paris.
Good move.
And I really did think I was going to be this big corporate person, but I came back and found myself still wanting to stay in the not-for-profit sector, and at that point in the arts, and moved to San Francisco, did some things with the arts out there, found myself in upstate New York, and started working with a little opera company outside of the Albany area of New York called the Lake George Opera Festival, which is now called Opera Saratoga. And that was a long time ago, and I've been running opera companies ever since.
Oh my gosh. So you just, it wasn't your career path, but it became, and just funny how you fall into stuff.
It's a perfect blend for me of my love and my passion for the art form, and also using my business acumen, because you really have to these days in order to keep your organization running forward.
Yeah. Well, so that MBA comes in handy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, and then you went to the University of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but where do you originally hail from?
I originally hail from Connecticut. I always say I grew up in, unlike B, who lives in Shishi, Connecticut, I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut, which is like working class Connecticut. So originally I lived there for the first 17 years of my life, and have lived in a million places since. But I do hail from Connecticut originally.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So tell me, let's talk a little bit about, we talked about 3 Decembers.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got coming up next.
Yes.
What is this? The
next one up is New York Stories. Written by a composer whose name is Darren Hagen. I've known Darren for a very, very long time. Again, 3 little vignettes, all taking place in New York. One on the Upper West Side, one on the Upper East Side, and then one in an East Village apartment. And the Upper West Side is a little slice of budding romance. And these are all based on basically.
And are these intertwined at all, or are these completely separate?
When you get to the end.
Okay.
So anyway, the first one is just, a plumber comes to fix this woman's house, and he's in a suit, and she asks him why he's in a suit. And he says he'd just gone to propose to someone, and she turned him down. And then this woman shares with him that she recently got divorced, and she has to leave. And he goes on to fix her bathroom and leaves her a rose signifying a potential budding romance. And then on the other side of life, a very well-to-do woman living on the Upper East Side is about to go out for the night, and her brother shows up, and he's been homeless and living in a shelter, and she didn't know it. And he asks if he can stay with her the night, and she says no. And it's about just all that can include. And then in the last one, this composer with his composer's wife, who is actually the composer of the pieces, they're putting their first child down to sleep after they've been out for the evening at a concert. And she tells him about all the other characters and what's going on in their life, kind of wrapping the story all around. So it's all semi-autobiographical and all about real things that happened in New York, and hence he called it New York Stories. So it's really, really sweet.
That sounds great. Yeah.
And again, all things that are real life and things that
are relevant to a lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. And then what is this? Trouble in Tahiti?
Yes.
That's
Probably
the
the
following.
piece that many people will know because it's by Leonard Bernstein. It
Mhm.
was written in the 50s. Again, a couple that's not really getting along. And she basically accuses her husband of having an affair with his secretary. He goes off to work upset. He confronts the secretary, and she says, "Yeah, you kind of have made some passes at me," which wouldn't work in modern day.
Right,
Now,
exactly.
so stop it. Then they run into each other, and they both make excuses not to be together. She says, "We have to talk about this. We have to work it out." They're both supposed to go to their son's recital. Neither do.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to a movie, comes home, and even when the time comes where they should really be sitting and talking about it, once again, instead of doing that, they go back and see that same movie, which is the movie Trouble in Tahiti. So two people needing to know they need to work on improving their marriage, their happiness, and yet it's easier to just go to a movie.
Right. So
a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you see happening after we open back up?
Well, it's going to be interesting because that's the $1 million question and has been for a while. We have agents calling us. We're talking with our performing arts centers and so forth. But, it's our crystal ball is still a little cloudy.
I know everybody is like, do we do an event in October?
Right.
Do we? Yeah.
Because, you listen to one thing and everybody's going to be vaccinated by the end of the summer. And then I heard something.
But even if you're vaccinated, you still may be able to give it to somebody else.
I think the thing that we'll plan to do is that I'm pretty sure what our general plan will be is to make hay slowly, is to continue to kind of ramp up, see how we do with these, see what the response is, how we work with, working with probably about, I think at the biggest cast and orchestra, maybe 20 people on the stage.
Yeah.
If that, not even really, it's 18. And see with all our measures to make sure we keep everyone safe, the audience is comfortable, and then we'll make hay slowly. And I think we'll kind of work back up over the course of, it's going to depend on the vaccine.
What's happening? Well, what do you hear from the Arts Center, from Broward? Are you in contact with them on a regular basis?
They're in the same place we are because they have these huge facilities that is going to take an insane amount to make them CDC compliant and socially distanced audience and things. And
are they doing anything right now at all?
No, not at
nothing.
Well, actually, the smaller theater in Broward has 2 theaters. The Amontoro is actually, they're performing in the Amontoro. But I think that there will be announcements fairly soon, from what I know, coming back up. I don't know that they have any more particulars about guidelines in terms of what they have to do from social distance perspective quite yet. We're all kind of still, we're all kind of in this waiting posture because, of course, it's not for profits. We can't incur huge expense and then you also be able to have 4 people in the audience. It doesn't kind of work.
Well, and then you also have the problem of, like, when people are performing, they're singing, and they're not singing with mask on, and so that's another consideration, just for your performers. So having 3 performers is one thing, but having 20,
right?
Yeah,
and when there'll never be more than 6 people performing
on the stage.
And the orchestra, unless they're playing a wind instrument, will all be masked as well.
Yeah.
I mean, basically anyone who can wear a mask will wear a mask, and the singers are far enough back. I mean, they say, well, we're supposed to have 6 feet in between people. They say 15 feet if someone is singing, and the audience is even more like 18 feet. So we're keeping people as far away. And also it's opera singers. So they don't need microphones, and you will hear them even if they're 25 feet away. So we're really working. We were very, very successful with our fall concerts.
So 15 feet, huh?
15 feet.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's 18, yeah.
No, I sing in a church choir.
Yeah. It's supposed to be at least 15.
Yeah, but you know what? We had a little scare, and everybody's negative, but we had a little scare. So yesterday, I actually sang with my mask on.
Right.
And I just got close to the microphone, so But now that you tell me 15 feet,
And
I'm going to share that.
there are singer masks.
Oh, there are
masks that have like a bone structure. It's not real bone, but built into it so that you can actually sing and be heard to a greater extent.
Oh, really?
If you Google
I'd love
it, you
that.
can find them. They're
Really?
It's starting to be a thing that is, many manufacturers are starting, and generally it's singers and some entrepreneurial folks that have kind of worked together to develop the mask.
Well, this one that Lewis designed is really nice because it does give you a little air.
Pocket there, so you can get some air.
And it's thick. It's thick enough that I'm sure this is good for.
Yeah, the challenge really as a singer is that when you need to, especially as an opera singer, when you need to take your breath in order to sustain yourself, like if you can't breathe in, or if you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide, it's a little tough. So
I was doing that yesterday.
Yeah, it really is difficult. So folks really have.
Yeah, but I don't need to project like opera singers do.
And in all the rehearsals, the singers are wearing masks even if they're singing.
Oh, good.
So really, the only time that they won't have them on is when they're performing. We're making sure, and everybody gets tested once a week, if not twice. Same.
Now that it's so easy to do, we were just talking about how easy.
Come in the building, always monitoring symptoms. And we do have very, very clear protocols about what you can and can't do, because if one person gets sick, God forbid it gets other people sick, but also it just starts a whole cascade of events that have to happen. So we kind of basically tell people, like, stay home as much as you can. Just do what you really need to do during the period.
So how many people do you typically get when you do these smaller performances that are live?
This is it. We've never performed before at the Miami Theater Center. We're really excited to bring our performances to Miami Shores, which is just a beautiful little village, easy to get to. Also a little farther north for us, but that's great because we do have so many Broward patrons, so they can come down 95 and not have to drive all the way into the city, so to speak. So this socially distanced, it depends quite, because if you can imagine, with six feet at least in between people, if 5 people are sitting together, you need 6 feet after that. So the theater will run, depending on how people seat, between 90 and a little bit over 100. And normally there's like 375 seats in there. So it's less than a third of the occupancy. And it just really depends on how people buy tickets. We're very flexible, who's coming in and needs the wheelchair seats, whatever the case may be. So, but that's what we're just doing 2 performances, evening performance and a matinee, because we don't really know what the response is. We had a great response to our concerts in the fall, but they were in our rehearsal hall in where we are in Doral, and we got in about 85 people, and we could have probably done 2. We only did 1, so we're being cautious. We know that there are a lot of people who unfortunately can't come out. They just they're not comfortable. They have to worry about someone being sick at home, or they themselves have pre-existing conditions. So we kept it on the small side to make sure everyone stays safe, because ultimately that's the goal.
Yeah, obviously that's key. And that, I think that's the biggest thing. Not that people don't want to come out, but there will be a pent-up demand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So I have a feeling when you do start opening up, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how many people are going, thank heavens we're getting back to normal.
I can go back out, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
So in your what opera do you love the most and would most love to be able to produce in the upcoming, whenever we open up again?
Jeez, that's really.
Do you have a favorite?
Ask someone who does opera for a living.
Do you have a favorite?
I probably have 10 favorites I could tell you, but I think that
I think everybody has a favorite, but
I don't have a favorite.
I've got 2 or 3. I've got 2. Yeah.
Well, I think that it would be something that, it would be great to be able to get back to a huge opera with huge spectacle, like Puccini's Turandot or something like that, because the audience loves it. And everybody knows Nessun Dorma, the aria that Pavarotti and many other tenors made famous. Yet there are so many choristers in it, and musicians, and people on stage that, of course, there are particulars that we have to follow from all of our various unions to keep the stagehand safe, to keep the singer safe, and so forth. And some of those parameters are still going to be in effect even when we reopen, because they are in a different environment where they're very close together. Here we're sitting, separated, and it'll be the same thing with them. So I'm just hoping that we can get in that first season next year as we come back, an audience favorite or two, things that the audience would like to see that
it's very recognizable,
such massive productions, that people will be like, ooh, we haven't seen that in a while and we're happy. But I do have to think about what it looks like backstage and how many people I have to keep safe, in addition to keeping everybody safe in the audience.
Yeah.
So I'm still, there are a million operas I would love to do, but it's going to take a little bit of time, because we really do have to make sure the audience is ready.
Tell me something. How long have you been in Doral?
How long have we been in Doral? We've been in Doral since, I think that building was purchased in like the mid 2000s, like 8 or 9. It's a building that houses our rehearsal hall, our administrative offices, some of our technical equipment.
So in 2000?
No, I think it was like 2008 or 9.
Oh, okay. So it was already a city.
Yes. It was, and it's changed
I
dramatically.
live in Doral, and I was so surprised to find out that your rehearsal hall was there. And I'm going, what?
And we're in the middle of the Beacon Center, so we're kind of in the middle of the warehouse district.
So you're kind of hidden.
Yeah, we're hidden. We're on 25th and 84th Ave. So we're we're over there. And Doral, I mean, I've been with the company now about 8.5 years, and in those 8.5 years, Doral is a different place.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It's truly amazing.
It's grown so much. Yeah.
Truly amazing.
But what a great place to be.
Absolutely. Easy access. And backwards commute for everybody. So it makes my staff happy.
You know what? I live in Doral, and it's kind of backwards for me too. Coming to South Miami. I gotta say, people go, "Oh, you're living so far west." I go, "Yeah, it's piece of cake. It's not Kindle."
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So, tell me, what's up next for you?
What's up next for me today?
Today, what are you gonna do today?
So I go back to the.
What's your typical day?
There's no such thing as a typical day. Half of the staff right now is at the theater, making a site visit, kind of working out some more of the technical details, and also the front of house details, so we can get everybody seated safely.
This is like a dry run for you for this theater.
We go into the theater on Wednesday and Thursday, and then. The rehearsals, and then Friday's dress rehearsal. We open Saturday, close Sunday, and then pack everything up and move back out very quick. We're usually in the theater longer periods of time. But today we have a meeting with the cultural executives in Miami-Dade, which is I'm looking forward to, because as you may know, there's special funding that's part of the next CARES Act. It's specifically geared for the performing arts. And it originally started out as SOS Save Our Stages. So I'm looking forward to finding out what's up with that. And a couple last minute marketing details and so forth. A little bit of everything, really. I have a great fortune of working with all the departments on top of doing my own job. And
Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs, that's probably one of the best departments in the county, but also probably in the state. They are, I mean, over the years, I've had to work with them on and off, and I'm always blown away by what we do here. And we're so lucky.
It's by far there's a lot of vision in this community to support the arts. And by all means, having lived and worked in a lot of different communities, it's definitely the most supportive and very, very forward thinking. We're very fortunate to have that kind of vision coming from the commissioners, and then coming from Michael Spring and his department.
Yeah, Michael, I knew Michael Spring, 40 years ago? We go way back. No, he's amazing. Yeah. So, I congratulate you on everything you've done. I think, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're way past it. I'm so sorry. You didn't tell me. Oh well, yeah, we could talk forever. When you're talking about performing arts, you can always talk forever. But I thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure, and it was so much fun. Thank you for bringing the props. I look forward to a couple of weeks having another great guest. And thank you again for coming, and see you next time. Stay safe, everyone, and please think about coming to the opera. It's a great experience, and whether you do it online or in person, you'll be glad you did.